Hello, Allen community. I'm Hannah Kinney, Assistant Curator of Academic Programs. Since late March, when Oberlin College started teaching online, I've been spending most of my time here in my home office on Zoom, talking to students and faculty about works in the Allen's collection that help us think about illness, wellness, and moments of crisis.
Some of my favorites have included this silkscreen from our art rental collection, David von Aronitz's 7 Miles a Second, which is a spread from a comic book of the same name that responds to the artist's experience of living during the HIV/AIDS epidemic in the 1990s. I've also been thinking about our incredibly rich collections of drawings by the late 19th century Southern Cheyenne artist Howling Wolf. These drawings have new meaning for me as documents of a moment of extreme and violent change for his culture. These works have made me wonder what the images from our current crisis will look like and how people will understand our complicated present in the future.
But for my art break today, I want to talk about something totally removed from the current moment and coronavirus, because sometimes it's nice to think about something else and to have a real break.
So imagine that we are all back together in the Willard Newell Gallery at the Allen, which is densely hung with paintings from the 17th and 18th centuries. It's a great room to come to take a rest, and to clear your mind. And it also has one of my favorite objects in the Allen's collection, a portable altar by Jacopo Ligozzi, dated to 1608, which intrigues me for its materiality and its mystery. Jacopo Ligozzi was from a family of painters and designers from the northern Italian city of Verona. He came to Florence around 1576 and eventually became an important member of the Medici court. Ligozzi was a prolific artist who is widely known for his scientific drawings of animals and plants. At the Allen, we have a lovely drawing of a camel and a hedgehog that has been attributed to Ligozzi. Working within the court context, Ligozzi's designs also appeared on a wide range of objects, ranging from festival decorations to furniture. A number of his designs were translated into hardstones, known in Italian as pietre dura, in the workshop known as the Opificio delle Pietre Dure, where such stones were transformed by artisans into objects that blur the line between the creations of man and nature, something that the altar itself does. The portable altar brings the architecture of a church to human scale. It contains 2 paintings, both on materials that might be surprising. At the center is a sensitive painting on copper of Christ on the Mount of Olives, while below is a painting on lapis lazuli of the sacrifice of Isaac. What's so incredible to me is how Ligozzi has used the inherent material qualities of lapis to give the impression of a bright blue sky through which the angel appears to stop Abraham from killing his son Isaac. But by leaving the qualities of lapis apparent to the beholder, Ligozzi also calls attention to the material richness of this object as a whole. This is something we often see in Florentine painting on stone at the time, as well as in pietre dure objects that draw attention to the landscapes that they saw as hidden inside of stones. Surrounding this image are inlays of mother of pearl, and ornamenting the rest of the object are pieces of agate, lapis, and other semi-precious stones. What's so exciting about this piece for a nerd of the Medici court like me is that we also have its original carrying case. What's really interesting about this case for me is how the decorations from the altar, which would have been contained inside, move outside to ornament the surface of the case. At the center we see a cartouche that seems to be made in lapis, with those striations of blue that we can remember from the Sacrifice of Isaac painting. Over the lapis are fictive gilt bronze ornaments of the letters IHS, an abbreviation for Jesus, as well as the monogram of the Jesuit order. Below is another piece of faux lapis that is reminiscent of the shape of the painting of the Sacrifice of Isaac. All around are beautifully rendered flowers dancing with playful grotesques, which find similarities in Ligozzi's other work. That all of this color is painted onto a black background also makes the relationship between case and contents even stronger, as if the dark color was meant to mimic the ebonized wood of the altar. Comparing, for example, The ornament around the lapis painting of the sacrifice of Isaac with the decoration on the case, you can understand how this object and its container were conceived as a set. One can imagine the excitement that opening the doors to reveal the altar nestled inside of red velvet might have elicited from its owner. While we can see the clear relationship between this altar and its case, its exact purpose is not completely clear to us. There are a few clues that can help us think through that question more. On both sides of the case are brass handles, which suggests that this case might have been carried. As a person who has often worked with decorative arts, I like to think about the embodied experiences handles like these suggest. To do so, I consider how this case is asking to be held. For me, it seems most natural to think of this object as being held by a single person, using both hands, perhaps centering the case in front of their chest. Which makes me then ask, why? This object was made in 1608, the year of an important marriage for the Medici family, of Cosimo II to the Archduchess Maria Maddalena of Austria. Oberlin Emeritus Professor of Art History William Hood has posited that the altar might have been a gift from the Medici to the Habsburgs in Vienna during the marriage negotiations. Elaborate and rich objects such as this altar, which were made in the Medici court workshops in Florence, were important diplomatic tools, so such a suggestion is quite probable. But when I sit in Willard Newell Gallery and look at this object, I always wonder, if it was such an important diplomatic gift, why was the case painted to look like hard stones and not itself made of hard stones? Having read about the delays in the production of sugar sculpture for this important wedding, as well as the challenges of casting a bronze equestrian that would be displayed for the ceremony, I wonder if the portable altar is another of those objects that was rushed to completion before the impending ceremony. Or maybe, like the ephemeral architecture that decorated the city for the event, the case was meant to be pleasing at first sight, but not to last beyond the initial presentation. Finding out the answers to these questions will take time sitting in the archives in Florence, paging through documents and looking for nuggets of information. But thinking about the questions twisted inside of these ornaments is a pleasure, an escape, and a break for me. I hope it has been for you too.